we start, kindly note the India Hindi would start with a video, a small video, and then Dr. Niharika would take over the session. Thank
So, welcome everybody. It's an honor to be here on this platform talking to everybody from the medical fraternity. And thank you so much to the entire team of Dr. Reddy's Foundation for having me here today to talk about my journey and to inspire each one of you here who is a part of this live session. I am Dr. Niharika Yadav. I am a dental surgeon. I run a private dental practice in Gurgaon 6 days a week. And over the weekends on a Sunday, I transform, as I like to call it, into a superbike racer. I race at the JK Tyre Superbike Championship every year in the 1000cc category with all the men. So I'm the only female participant racing on a superbike in India currently. So that's been my story. I keep getting asked about how I juggle my, my profession and my passion. So today, the whole point of me being here is to tell you just that, and also to to let you guys know that to have a passion along with your profession is extremely important. So let me start my journey. Of who I am completely and what made me who I am today. My journey started not in 2015 when I visited the track to become a racer. My journey started much before that in 2005. And I say this because back in 2005, on my way to dental college, I had met with a very, very nearly fatal car accident. I was supposed to take the college bus to dental college, which I missed. And as a result of that, I stepped into one of the call center cabs. And unfortunately, since the driver was driving very fast, and in spite of being told multiple times for him to slow down, he didn't really listen to me. So this ordeal went on to us having head-on collision with a truck, which was of course a very bloody sight for me to see. Apart from the trauma that I went through post this accident, because once this accident, post the accident, I had a radius fracture. I had a green stick fracture in the ulna, and of course my entire head was in a pool of blood with all the glass pieces that had gone into my face, my head, and also in this accident, two people lose the, we lost two people because of this accident. And so yes, I was rushed to hospital post that, and after reaching there, I was told that I will have to undergo a surgery to put a plate on my radius. And so we went on with the surgery. The radius, the plate was placed, and I went through a lot of stitches, almost 40 stitches on my forehead. So these pictures, as you can see, are of course the beginning of Dr. N, of Dr. Niharika, a defense kid. And so yes, so coming back to my accident, post the surgery, I went back to dental college and started off with my studies and kept going through multiple series of physiotherapy to really recover. But in spite of the first surgery being a success and going through multiple physiotherapy sessions, the movement was not coming back. And so we then consulted another surgeon who said, let's just try to get the movement back. Because what had happened is, as doctors can understand, the radius was of course in two pieces, but the ulnar head had also dislocated, which the previous surgeon had not noticed during the surgery. The series of surgeries post that did not bring on any movement. And I was getting into severe depression day by day. Things were just not looking good for me, to a point where I was advised to leave dental college. And I mean, for somebody who's so passionate about dentistry, to be working out of dental college was, of course, a nightmare. So we then went on after somebody's very strong recommendation towards to meet another surgeon in Pune. He was a specialist hand surgeon, and luckily, I mean, he promised me that Niharika, we will perform another surgery. This surgery will give you 50% of your movement back, but you will never have 100% movement. So I was still extremely happy, because right now, I mean, I was having issues with with day-to-day things like eating, or eating with a spoon, with even making my notes in dental college, and of course with us reaching to a point of practicals starting emerging very soon, where I would have to use my right hand to its maximum potential. It was becoming a bigger challenge. So we went on with the surgery, and as he had said, post the surgery, after a series of very painful physiotherapy sessions, we finally ended up with getting 50% of movement. The reason I say say we or us is because my family has also been with me through this journey, and they have stood by me extremely strong. So yes, I got my 50% movement back, and that was definitely a light at the end of the dark tunnel for me, because as I told you, I was getting into severe depression because of having no movement. But now even the thought of having 50% movement was looking to me was literally like the sunrise. And people, the reason I always discuss this incident in my life is because uh, it's not just an experience that I'm narrating to you about an accident. What I truly learned from this experience was, after so many years and months of suffering, and so many months and years of looking in deep into my soul, and really understanding that life is very, very unpredictable. You cannot plan out your life. You cannot even plan out the next very hour or the next very day in your lives. And that's what the accident taught me, that we cannot take our lives for granted. We cannot ever not appreciate what we have in our lives today. And we have to live our lives to the fullest. We have to give our lives the fullest each and every single day. Today we're going through this pandemic with the coronavirus, and as each one of you has seen, that this was a very unpredictable time. We were not, we had not foreseen something like this. We didn't know that we would be, sitting indoors. We would stop working. We would be in a position like this, in a pandemic, a global pandemic like this. And that itself shows each one of us, how unpredictable life is, and what is in store for you tomorrow. You don't know. So that's what I learned from this. From every experience, there is a certain realization. That was my realization. And I'm sure that each one of you out there who's going through this pandemic, staying indoors, is also going through a certain realization at this point in time. Maybe deep down, there's something that you want to get out of this pandemic and do. Maybe today you feel that we've been indoors. Once we're out, there's so much that we need to do with our lives, because each day, each month is just ticking away, with us just staying indoors for, of course, a great cause and a great purpose. But yes, that realization, I'm sure, is going through each and everybody's minds. It's going through my mind as well. There's so much I want to really go get out there and do more with my life. So of course there is that realization in life, which is what my experience taught me, which is what you all are learning through this experience. And then there are certain resolutions, in terms of getting out there. It could be anything that you might end up starting, after a process like this. So truly enough, this accident shaped me as a person. That day, when I say that day, I mean the day I went through this whole series of, of incidences, right from the day I met with that accident, going up to losing that movement, and then of course the multiple series of accidents that followed. I mean, the surgeries that followed post that, and it was a sense of awakening in my life, and it was an experience that shaped me as a woman. It was an experience which made me feel that right now, today in life, there is a certain realization that there's a constant search for you know what I really like calling passion. Today I call it my passion. At that point in time, I had no clue as to what I would call it, but I knew that yes, in life there was something that I was in search of, which would truly help me to live my life to the fullest. There had to be something that made me feel like yes, I was living this life, which is a gift, which is so blessed, to the fullest. And my search since then, of course, started. I was constantly in search of that passion. And back in 2015 was the first time when I stepped into Budh International Circuit. This is the Formula One racing circuit, professional racing circuit in Greater Noida. And I stepped in there, after being invited by a friend. He said that we're riding bikes there and we're practicing, and I said great. I said I would love to come and watch you guys. So I went to Budh International Circuit as just a spectator, as just a viewer, as anyone here sitting in this crowd. I was just one of those people. But little did anyone know that out of that crowd of people who were sitting there would emerge a woman in a male-dominated sport. Because today I'm the only female who's racing in the 1 meter class. So 1 meter class is the 1000cc category, which are the super bikes and the super bike racing circuit in India. So I reached there. I was sitting there as a spectator, like anyone over here in the audience is, and there was a thought inside me. I was jumping like a child at a play store. I truly had felt like I was brought into a toy store and was experiencing that joy. I think that day I truly found my passion, because just watching these guys, roaming at those speeds around, on the track in front of me, was a sight which truly touched every aspect of my soul, and truly touched every aspect of my being. So I said, this is something I really want to come back and pursue. And I had people around me who said, "Oh, come on, it's the sport is for men. It's dangerous, and are you sure you want to get into this? And it's stupidity and all of those questions, of course, came barging at me. But I had already made up my mind. I had already made up my mind that this is what I want to do, and this is what I want to pursue. And so I then went on to pick up a bike which had lesser power. It was called the KTM RC 390. So as you can understand, the 390cc as opposed to the 1000cc that I ride on right now. But I started off on a 390cc bike, which had lesser power. And since I was not sure if this was a sport which I would pursue for a very long time, or I initially just wanted to get into it and see what the sport had in store for me. Which is what I did. So I borrowed some secondhand leathers. So the first time I was in track, I was in really like loose, baggy leathers of one of the male riders. And so that's how my journey started. I went on to these track days. We're on track every month, practicing for our races. So in the middle of all those powerful bikes, there was this one lady with who was roaming through all the men on a smaller bike, and I carried on with that for a few months and maybe a year. And post that, there was the race which was coming up, which is the race that I participate in now, which I've been participating in for the last, almost 4 or 5 years now, which is the JK Tire Superbike National Championship, which happens at Budh International Circuit and Chennai. So, this is, that's one of the views of me on my bike. So this bike, of course, came in later. As I told you, I started off with KTM RC 390, and then I graduated to this just before the race. So all the men were filling up their forms. They were all signing up for it, and then in the middle of it, something just occurred to me. I said, why don't I participate in the race? And this was a race where no woman had ever participated. It is a very, very fierce race with the best racers. In fact, racers who are racing, the male racers are racing at international global platforms as some of the finest. They are the Sachin Tendulkars or the Dhonis of biking, So I said, great. I said, let me just, let me see if I can really, get in and sign up papers. And I signed all the papers for the race, and everybody was looking at me, and they're like, wow, like here's a woman who's, coming forward for the very first time and saying, okay, I'm going to race with the men. So I did that. I signed the papers. I went on to track, and that was the first race ever in 2015, where I participated in the JK National Championship in the 1000cc category as the only female on the grid. For most people in the audience, of course, there were 40 bikes lined up with helmets, on each rider. But nobody really knew that under one of those helmets was a woman. So, I made sure to keep my pony outside. So, and the race, it was extremely overwhelming. There was nervousness and excitement on the grid. When the lights just go off and then they say, all right, you have to just go. The flags are shown. And here go 40, racers on the grid, all together like charging bulls. They don't care if you're a woman on the track. If you come, anywhere on their lines, in between their lines, they will throw you out of the track. You'll be out of it. So it's a very, very fierce, extremely fierce competition. But yes, I went out there. Here was a woman going through, past those 40 male racers with a pony, sticking out of her helmet. And, going past these men, one after the other, one man behind, and that's been my journey. And now every year, I again race as the only female. Again, there is no female who has come on board to participate in the 1000cc category so far. People say it is scary. People who stand outside say it's an experience which you live by watching, but you don't want to be on track because you have to have a heart of steel. And I think I do have a heart of steel because I am a woman who truly believes in herself. I am a woman who's extremely passionate about her life and has truly, is living her life to the fullest. But now the reason why. I won't say I was really born with it. It was an experience that shaped me. It was an experience of going through the accident, which really brought me to being Dr. N, as people call me, Dr. Niharika. So this experience has shaped me as a person. Today I go on various platforms. I've given 2 TED Talks. I've done a lot of corporate talks talking to people about the importance of having a passion apart from your profession. Because I just see that, people get very, very absorbed in taking life so seriously that they think, they're making 5-year plans, they're making 10-year plans, not understanding that each and every single day that you have today is a gift. Each and every single second you have in your life is a gift, and you cannot take it for granted. And I'm here to remind each and everybody at all my talks when people are sitting there. I've had people walk away saying, hey, it's been great inspiration, what you said. And, our mindset as being people who are just confined into our clinical setups or into our corporate setups or today when I'm talking to the medical fraternity, we as doctors are inclined to be within our setups and within our private practices in a single room. We are sitting on that same chair every single day. Patients come in, go out, that flow goes on. But I always say that we are always providing to our patients. We are always giving the best to our patients. So why don't we do that for ourselves as well? Why don't we put ourselves or take ourselves as so seriously as important enough to really give ourselves the best? Because when you give yourself the best, you also come back to give your patients even better. And that's why I feel it's very important to have a passion. A passion could be anything. You could probably start gardening. You could start playing the guitar. Learn to play a new a sport, maybe an instrument. It could be cooking. It could be anything for anyone. Your passion could be anything. For me, it was biking, but for you, your passion could be anything which you probably left behind getting busy with the profession. So that's extremely important. The other thing which I always tell people is that, in school, we were always taught, in fact, we were conditioned to really understand that, the importance of having an extracurricular activity, right? when we were, when we were studying, along with the studies, we were sent out, on the ground, or we were sent to do other extracurricular activities. We were sent for dance practices. We were sent for other form of activities. And that was the mental conditioning that we were supposed to be growing up with, to understand the importance of not just having our professions, but also having our extracurricular activities or our passions in hand. And honestly, from the time I have adopted a passion, 6 days a week when I'm in the clinic, I'm giving it my best. On a Sunday when I go to the track and I ride, at that point in time, my entire focus is only on my, is on the track. So when I'm in clinic, I forget about bikes. When I'm on track, I forget about my clinic completely, And on a Monday morning, when I return back to clinic, honestly, I just return back feeling so rejuvenated, feeling so alive, feeling like I'm living this life to the fullest. And honestly, that's the feeling I want each and everybody here. My journey at this point. Just have a look at this video. Let you know a little.
I was raised as the daughter of a fighter pilot who himself was an adventurous man. Took part in the Raid Himalaya, rode bikes himself. That adventurous streak in me was inevitable. I am Dr. Niharika Yadav, a dental surgeon and a professional superbike racer. Weekdays पे मैं एक dentist की तरह transform हो जाती हूँ. यहाँ पे आपके mindset अलग होता है. जैसे क्लिनिक में एक बहुत सीरियस है, पेशेंट को ट्रीट कर रहे हो, एक बहुत ही सीरियस आपका आउटलुक है. आपका जो माइंडसेट है वो स्विच होके एक अलग फॉर्म में आ जाता है. मेरे लिए riding is like meditation. At that speed, all you can think of is, braking at the right time. No other rider comes and crashes into you, and आप इसको casually नहीं ले सकते. Turn T1 और T4 मेरे लिए difficult है turns, क्योंकि इसमें आप एक straight पे चला के आ रहे हैं at a speed of almost 275, and उसके बाद suddenly आपको ब्रेक करके वो turn लेना, वो बहुत complicated है. राइडिंग हमारे खून में अब बस गया है. कहते हैं ना, सोल को जो पंप करता है, वो राइडिंग ही एक ऐसा सोल पंपर है जिसके बिना अब आई थिंक इट्स लाइक एन एडिक्शन. वी कांट लिव विदाउट इट.
So this was a documentary that was done by Discovery Channel on my life, on my journey. That was a video that you just saw. So yes, I have been going on every platform possible to really, push people to pursue the importance of having a passion along with a profession. And that's what I'm here to do today, to talk to each one here, each of the participants on this live session, and make a difference that yes, if I could, even you can have the belief to give your life the best, to give every aspect of your life the best by working on yourself, and of course going out there and working on your passion. And as a return of that wonderful passion that you have, you end up giving your family, your patients, yourself the best, which is what we live for here, people. So that's been a part of my talk. Of course, I'd also like to now talk a little bit more post this journey about what's going on today. I mean, in these times, about the work that I'm doing and the work that each one of us should be doing. I have been feeding a lot of migrant workers around during this lockup period. I have been stepping out with permits and of course proper sterilization protocols in place. And I have been also feeding a lot of stray dogs, which is a cause very close to my heart. And I would request each one of you out there to do just the same. I mean, you don't really have to step out of your houses. You can definitely be a part of multiple donation camps that are going on. There are people already on foot out there doing the cause, like me and like many others. We have our permits in place, so we are allowed to step out and work towards the cause. So if you cannot really step out of your house, which I will not advise you to do, please be a part of this cause. Please donate to a lot of various causes. And another request in terms of animals is please put some maybe just a little bowl of water, or maybe make a few extra rotis or bread or any leftovers. Please place those outside your house. These are just very, very small ways to really give back to humanity. Nature has already taught us through this experience, that we need to become a little more. We need to become more human. We need to take out time to help other people around us, which we got really busy not understanding with our work and with our day-to-day busy chores. But yes, we can definitely be a part of this movement, even sitting at home through these small aspects in life. So please do your bit. I'm doing my bit. And, I just also want to share a small experience. As you can see the picture on the screen right now, that's me in a PP kit. Honestly, people, it was the toughest job to be wearing that PP kit and operating, doing a extraction for a patient who had called me. She had a wisdom tooth, pain and facial swelling. She said, "Doc, there is no way I can survive for the next, few weeks without getting this treated, because the antibiotics and the painkillers are not working." So, I planned on getting back to clinic and treating my patient, of course, with all the sterilization protocols in place. And I made sure that my staff and me were all in these kits. But, it was so difficult. It was so difficult because, we don't understand that these Corona warriors are working in these kits every single day. It is an absolute nightmare to be wearing these kits and working, because, the isolation is such that it does not allow any air inside. So we were sweating profusely in spite of the AC being on 16 degrees. We were struggling. We were sweating like anything. We were distracted. So my great respect to all the Corona warriors there. Thank you so much, docs. All the doctors there, all the team, the cops working, and everybody out there who's a part of this cause, working towards eradicating this cause, as we call the Corona warriors. Thank you so much. Thank you for this. We are all trying our best to stay indoors. We have not been asked to stand at a border front or with guns. All we're requested to is that please stay indoors, and I'm sure we all can contribute to that cause. So thank you so much, Corona warriors. You're doing your best, staying away from your families, your kids, your husbands, your wives. So my big salute to each one of them. So I'm going to now sign out on that note with questions from your end. I'd love to answer your questions. So let's get it flowing. And I hope that my talk has been of inspiration. I have no idea what you have picked out of my talk today, but yes, my message has been very clear about the importance of a passion and a profession together, hand in hand. So all the best.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for that inspiring session of yours. So the first question that we have is, how do I get the drive to my potential and make full use of each day?
Can you repeat it once again, please?
Can you hear me?
And also, people, that's my cat.
Yeah, yeah, sure. So
yes.
So the question is, how do one get the drive to maximize the potential and make full use of each day?
Clearly. Also, can you please mention who has asked me this question?
Sure, ma'am. This question has been asked by Miss Soumya Mittal.
Soumya, okay. Soumya, as I said, the only way to do that is by, is through passion. Either by imbibing passion in your day-to-day life, in what you do, because for a lot of people, they say our profession is our passion, and that's amazing. So whenever when your profession is your passion, you can never get bored of it. So, and for people who don't, who kind of reach those levels of saturation after a point, of course, it's extremely important for you to find that passion, as I told you. Some people find that passion in going to gym on a regular basis, maybe going for a run. Some people find it through cooking. Some people find it through, other extracurricular activities. So yes, what we need to understand is that, each and every single day, we cannot absorb ourselves into just our duties. We have certain duties towards ourselves, and when we fulfill those duties towards ourselves, is when that passion of truly living our lives, that's what makes our life, happier, or as I said, filled with passion. So yes, fill a passion in your life and you'll definitely have a life to live each day that you look forward to.
Dr. Niharika, next question. I'm Shrikant here. So next question is from Mr. Himanshu. He's asking, again, related to passion, can we define passion as a good addiction, which help oneself for performing his best in his routine professional practices?
Absolutely. I think Himanshu, you have described it in the most beautiful way. What you said is absolutely right. I don't think I need to say anything more than this, because I think the way you have explained it, really comes from your soul. So you have already understood, what I was trying to communicate to everybody out here, the importance of a passion. So you've done it beautifully, Himanshu. So yes, that's absolutely the way you describe a passion in life. And that's just the way, that's exactly how it should make you feel.
Okay. Thanks for that, Dr. Niharika. There is one question, and it is related to what you said in one of the videos about meditation. For your challenging work, do you practice meditation? If yes, how do you meditate? How do you meditate, or how you do it? Kindly guide us.
Meditation is very important, because meditation, even from a scientific perspective, has proven to be a form of changing your entire subconscious way of being, which is what as human beings we need to do. We need to change our subconscious thoughts and our processes and our ways, because we are conditioned in a certain way, since childhood, and certain limiting beliefs since childhood do not work for us when we become adults. So to change those subconscious ways is the reason why we bring in meditation. We impart that, we train our brains, we train our mind towards silence, which is what is required, because in this whole chatter of the mind, it is important sometimes to, like we sleep, we're giving our body some amount of rest. At the same time, the mind is constantly working. So we have to silence the mind sometimes in order to, gain that level of peace and subconscious awakening. I meditate? For me, surprisingly, even at 275 kilometers per hour on my bike, I'm meditating. Because at that point in time, for me, there's only one thing I'm thinking of, and that is just being on track on the lines and on the corners, and so for me, even at that speed, I'm actually meditating towards just doing one thing at a time. So yes, I do meditate.
Thanks, doctor. This is a very common question. Perhaps I would have also asked this question to you. And this question is from Dr. Anil Patel. He is asking, do you feel fear or anything while riding a bike, or when you rode your bike for the first time and you are riding at very high speed? So what do you say about that? Feeling fear?
Yes, Dr. Anil, I definitely feel fear. But my fear is only when I step onto my, when I get onto my bike, or probably when I'm on the grid before a race. That's when I fear most. But at the same time, I also feel like, I have been able to really overcome that fear, because, I have certain goals that I work towards when I'm on track. I work towards improving my timings. I work towards getting better timings and, my performance. And I also feel like when you are working towards your performance, with every track day, your fear goes out of the window, because you are at that point in time just looking at how to achieve that goal. So there are, of course, times when I feel scared as well. But I don't, what you do is with your practice sessions, you tend to, get to a point where you ride within your own fear parameters or within your own fear limits. So like as I said, even at 275, I don't feel scared. But if I'm not practicing enough, and if I'm pushing myself to say a 290 without that practice and that goal, then I would feel scared. So yes, that would be my answer to that.
Thanks. And I guess I'm also going to link the next question to what you said just now. And we have also titled this session as When I Don't Practice. So there's a question from Hemant, Dr. Hemant. He says, is it necessary to practice the thing which we like to do every day? Like, for example, playing music or singing for happiness? Probably you can relate it to your practicing riding the bike.
Yes, absolutely. Dr. Hemant, see, as I said, a passion can be anything. It could be singing songs, it could be cooking, it could be anything. That's what we call a passion. And should we do it, imbibe it every single day? Of course, if a passion makes you feel happy, then you should incorporate doing things that make you happy on a day-to-day basis if it allows you to, Certain people have certain passions like me, I can do it only over a weekend, or I can do it probably maybe once or twice in a month. But if you have a passion that you can dwell on every single day, I think you're extremely lucky to do that. And of course, go out there and do what makes you happy, because that's what we're here for.
Here is another question, which is again on passion and profession. If there comes a time where you have to choose one, what would that be? Passion or profession?
If I had to choose one, I would choose my profession and make it my passion. I would do everything possible to make my profession my passion, because as important as a passion is, of course, we need to, we have bills to pay. As we have bills to pay, we have a life to fund our day-to-day, expenditures. So yes, of course, your profession is extremely important, but I would do everything possible to make that profession my passion.
Okay. So what will be your last message to all the health workers who are fighting like warriors on the front line?
My biggest message to them is, of course, of thank you. No matter, I don't think there's anything that I can say other than having extreme gratitude for what they're doing right now. And as I had mentioned at the end of my talk, that, for us to also be part of this whole movement, of this whole cause, of this whole challenge, we have to do our own bit, which we are doing. But we have to support them, we have to respect them. As we know, there are a lot of cases where the corona warriors are being attacked by people because of a lot of myths. So, as soon as you come across any myth, please do not share it further through WhatsApp messages or Instagram or Facebook. Just bury the message right there and there. Do not, be a carrier towards those myths, and respect those people, who are out there, to each and everybody out there. Please respect the corona warriors. As I said earlier, they are there without their families. Some of them are staying without their parents, without their kids, without their husbands, their wives. They haven't met them in months. So we need to respect what they're doing for us. And, we need to, and as I said, a big salute to each and everybody out there, who's doing this for us and for the cause.
There are many questions coming up, Dr. Niharika, and then I thought probably I will take a few more. In the hustle of life, you miss out to take out time for your passion. How do you balance the two?
I'm sorry, can you just repeat it once more?
So in the hustle of life, you miss out to take out time for your passion, which is a problem with many people. They can't allocate time for their passion. So how do you balance your profession and passion? Is it like these days your profession and one day your passion, or passion is every day?
See, as I told you, your passion has to help you, to give your life the fullest. It has to help you to live your life each day, having gratitude and living life to the fullest. And that passion does not necessarily have to be done every single day. You could have a passion that you do maybe even once a month that helps you feel rejuvenated. Maybe you just go out, like in my case, biking is expensive. So I cannot be on track every Sunday. So I go maybe just, once or twice in a month, I'm on track practicing. But I go every month. But I still carry that energy towards, looking forward to the things that I need to do, or the things that I like doing, So there's so much that you can really do apart from, if you don't have time for your passion, it's absolutely fine. Focus on your profession, and then take out time whenever possible for your passion. And that's what you need to do.
Yeah, and because you are in this passion of biking, so what he needs is extremely good fitness. So there is a question related to that. What do you do to maintain your fitness? You can also talk about something on diet.
To be very honest, fitness is a very, very important aspect of my life since I was a kid, because I come from a defense background. My father was, a fighter pilot in the Indian Air Force. As you know, in the defense, fitness is number one priority. So we were brought up in a household where we were also pushed towards sports. I played, state level badminton as when I was younger. I played zonals in basketball. I used to also do a little bit of horse riding. So I played all kind of sports throughout. And I think when you condition, when you condition your kids, or when you start young in terms of the proper diet and the proper fitness, your body turns out to be, stronger in the long run. And so thankfully, because of my background and my childhood, that has been a very important parameter. Having said that, I'm also somebody who works out at least 4 to 5 times, in a week. I go to the gym, I do my fitness trainings, I do my weight training. I don't pick up very heavy weights, but yes, I do I do a bit of weight training. And fitness is a very, very important part of my life. Building my stamina is very important to sustain through the 8 laps of riding on these powerful beasts. So yes, that's important. In terms of my diet, I try to just, avoid any kind of binging. I prefer having juices. You never find me sitting with a Coke or, with any of those drinks, because I just don't have a fondness. I respect my body, and I respect whatever I put into my body. I don't just go around binge eating. So yes, that's very important, to respect yourself, respect your body. And to do that, workout and proper diet and proper food is very important.
It's a very apt answer, Dr. Niharika. There's one question coming from Dr. Anubhav Saxena. Would you like to bring more girls into this field and help them learn more?
Dr. Anubhav, I would definitely like to do that. And I get a lot of people who, ask me questions. A lot of women also are coming forward and saying, we want to get get into racing, bike racing, and we want to get into, on track with you. But the thing is that, and I'm always there to guide them. I'm always there to support, whoever wants to do it. There have been a lot of women who've come on track as well, watched me ride. The only thing is that I do understand that there are certain family constraints as well, especially when it comes to women. So, a lot of women are stopped by their families to really come and pursue a sport like this, which is, I understand, is dangerous. Keeping that in mind, I do not promote the sport to anybody who says that our families do not agree with it. I feel it's very important for your family to agree with you coming on track and riding and being a part of the sport. I fortunately have had a family that supports me, is at all my races to stand by me and in fact push me towards my goals. But yes, of course, I mean, with women who want to come on board, I'm always there to support them, and I'm always there to guide them, including the men.
Okay. This question is one of our participant name is not clearly visible to me, but this is very relevant. Have you ever did any ride for social cause and spread awareness?
Yes. Yes, I basically I'm a factory racer for Ducati India, and I do causes of women empowerment, women emancipation. That is a cause that has been very, very important to me. Save the girl child. That's been another cause that I have written for. So I do raise a cause through my bikes, because we do get a lot of attention when we are on our bikes, and that's the best way to get the message forward. So I have done, yes, I do ride for causes. And, I have ridden on road with proper safety gear, talking about the importance of a helmet, talking about the importance of safety gear amongst the youth, which follow the sport but do not take the sport seriously.
So one of the biking enthusiasts also asked one question: which bike is good, Kawasaki Z1000 or Hayabusa?
It completely depends. I think the Kawasaki is definitely would be my choice, because the Hayabusa aerodynamics are not really built for track. So if you want to come to track, of course, it has to be Kawasaki. If you have to choose between the two, and I don't know if you're talking about the 650 or you're talking about the ZX10R. Whichever one it is, they both are amazing bikes. But yes, the Hayabusa honestly is not a bike of choice if you're coming to the track. For the road also, I mean, I've heard people say that it's a very bulky bike and not for long distance also. So you need to kind of weigh the pros and cons. But if you ask me, my personal opinion, I would go for definitely the Kawasaki.
Okay. Can you also talk a little about your association with UNESCO?
Yes, I am the youth ambassador for kindness program with UNESCO, and I have been talking, to people about the kindness program again, which is what I've been a global part of. Like for example, I told you that I'm going ahead and feeding a lot of migrant workers. We're also working along with PFA, which is People for Animals, which is Menka Gandhi's association. So we are working on various causes through the kindness campaign, and yes, that's how I've been associated with them.
Okay. This question also came to my mind, and there's also a question from some of our attendees is, how do you deal with people who discourage you or push you down? Or were there people when you were growing up who tried to uh, pull you down or were not encouragers? Or what was the reaction of your parents when you were getting into this?
Okay, so I think I'll have to break it into two. Yeah, I'll answer the question about my parents and their support. My father also, being a fighter pilot in the Indian Air Force, was somebody who was brought up to be extremely, he's been a very adventurous man, and he has raised me and my sister both as not saying that okay, these like you have a divide between men and women. Our father has always been very proud of us, of him having two daughters, and he's always raised us as very strong women, and so their support has been incredible. My mother also, she comes for all my races, and she is very, very scared because I still remember the first time when she came to the track and she saw me racing. She did not really understand when she was, coming there, that this is the level of, the sport, or I mean that I was pursuing. When she came, she was in tears for those 8 laps, and when I came back, she started howling and crying, and she said, I literally had my tongue in my, I mean, I was really scared. Yes. So that's been the support level, amazing. In terms of being discouraged, you will always be discouraged at every platform in your life, and especially when you are rising up in life and coming out for various causes. There you will find people around you, who will try to put you down. But I just deal with it in a way where, for me, my family is very important. Their views are very important in my life, and my belief and my confidence in myself is very important to me, and I work towards that every single day. And when you live a life where you don't where you want to respect yourself and you want others to respect yourself, you will not take anything that anybody says to you very seriously in terms of discouraging you. You will very selectively be in a position to filter out what is good for you and throw out what is not good for you. So that's fortunately something I've learned in life. And also, one thing I want to say is what people think of you is not your problem. That is their own insecurities that dwell within them, which come out on you. So never take that seriously. Never care about what people think of you. If you work on yourself every single day and work on your challenges, and you have your family supporting you, you don't need anything else.
Uh, are you looking forward to government to come forward and uh, cooperate and also push girls in this area or train in this area through Ministry of Sports or whatever? What do you think? What are your thoughts about this, the role of government?
There are a lot of private organizations that are coming up. There's Ducati is coming up. There's XPHP magazine. There are a lot of other portals that are coming on board to help support the racers and the riders. But yes, I would definitely like if the government can help us in any way. In fact, I am right now just working towards a certain project. I just hope it goes, forward, where we are working with, Mr. Sandeep, who is the, he's the Haryana Sports Minister. I don't know if you know about him. He, you know, the movie Surma also was made on him. He's been the hockey team captain in the past. So we are working towards building, you know, on a government level, building a track here in Haryana, and training girls and bringing them on, you know, towards a cause, because you know it's not about biking. It's not about bringing women on bikes or anything. I feel it is about the belief or the limited belief that people have that there are a lot of things that women cannot do, and we are trying to break those stereotypes by telling people that there's nothing that women cannot do, and you know, to keep putting that fact in their mind that aap ye nahi kar sakte or ye male dominated hai. So that's the principle we are trying to change, that if women want to come on bikes and women want to ride and they want to race, of course we will give you the platform, and you must come and be a part of this change. Yes, I would love the government to come in and support us on a larger scale.
Okay. The question is related to what I had asked one question related to this about girls coming into this field. And a similar question has been asked by Mr. SDPS Srinivas. You can take it in both ways. It can be a social cause or commercial angle also. So question is, have you started any coaching centers to motivate women to become as racers in coming days?
You know, I am a full-time dental surgeon running a very busy dental practice, and that has been my focus completely. What I do is, of course, my passion, and I have been spreading the word around. Like even today, if I'm on this webinar talking to people, it's about making a change in our lives, in the system, making a change in the way we live our lives, and taking life more seriously. So I have definitely been a change towards that. In terms of you know, coming up with a racing school or coming up with training program for women, very honestly, you know, right now that is not really on my mind, or that's not really my goal, because as of now, as I told you, you know, I'm working towards my dental goals and towards my passion. But maybe in the future, yes, you know, if I get a chance and my profession, I can really put my profession in the hands of another, you know, a larger team that would manage that, and I can probably put my focus on you know, on this aspect. I would probably work. But right now, yes, I'm working on my clinic. I have my own bills to pay, and so we're working towards of course all these messages, getting the message out. But yes, I'm not working towards this cause, which I might in the future.
Thanks, Dr. Niharika. It was a wonderful, inspiring talk. We all got motivated, inspired, and we understood the value of passion in our lives. Thanks for your time.
Thank you so much. Thank you. It's been a pleasure, and I can see that we've had almost you know, 350 people as our participants, which is a great number of people you know, in quarantine coming forward to be a part of this webinar. So thank you so much for having me on board. It's been an incredible part being this live session and sharing my thoughts on it. Thank you.
Thank you. And with this, on behalf of Dr. Reddy's, I thank our speakers for this inspiring session, and thanks to all the participants for taking time out. Hold fast to your passion, for if passion die, life is a broken winged bird that cannot fly. With this thought, we take a leave, and I wish your days is filled of positivity and good health, because good health can't wait. Jai Hind. Thank you.